2 months ago, we revealed our partnership with Marvel. So I just want to go through really fast, and Todd, jump in whenever you like here.
Oh, I will.
We have waves up right now for pre-order. They launched earlier this week, so we have two scales. The 1/6 scale, which is about 10-12 inches tall, based on Todd's artwork here. There's Spider-Man and Captain America, and their 3D versions here, which Todd, you've got in front of you. So really cool that we're able to bring Marvel into the fold.
Yeah, so the fun here, after years, decades actually, given that we're 30 years into the toy business, was trying to see if we could find a small piece of the Marvel, not only to be able to do some of the characters you guys all like, but I always thought that the angle that I could maybe get in is to go, well, what if I just made my own artwork, right? That would be its own sliver. And although other people could do it, I would then sign some of it. And so I go, so the sliver is McFarlane, making McFarlane signed by McFarlane. I know nobody else can replicate that. And so eventually they went, yeah, you know, because I don't know if you guys know about licensing, but they have 100% pie and they just try and keep figuring out all these different ways to cut things up. And I go, I won't sign any Marvel toys for anybody but me, so it would be its own piece of pie. And I was being silly at the time, but they ended up coming back and said, yeah, cool. So the fun right now is not only being able to try and figure out the 3D versions of my own artwork, but I also get to do, and we hope to do dozens and dozens in the future of some of these Marvel collectibles with my peers and some of the great artists that are out there right now, right? And some of the people who influenced me when I was coming up. So one of the things that we're hoping for is that this first wave is us experimenting. So we're gonna be leaning very heavily on your reaction, both for scale, for size, for price points, what you want in it, and more specifically, what characters you guys are looking for, given that some of them can have different poses and or different costumes. So we're just getting started. We're pretty excited right now. Hopefully you guys will too, but you know, feedback is gonna be really the lifeblood of making this line succeed going forward. You guys aren't shy, so make sure you continue to not be shy.
So we have more McFarlane Marvel here. So this is the newest wave. These are product renders, so not final photography, but obviously two of Todd's, your most favorite or popular covers, rather, translated into 3D form.
So it's interesting because if you go back one slide, you'll see that obviously the one that's sort of the famous Hulk one with Wolverine, there's just a piece of the artwork, and now we have to then make an interpretation the rest of the way. We did that on the Jim Lee X-Men #1 Wolverine 2, because in the original artwork he sort of cut off at the hips. So it's part of the fun and or frustration by the sculptors, because they're going, well, what is he doing? The other thing that we're doing, like on the one on the Hulk, and in a minute we'll jump to it, is that some of them we're trying to put like line work on it to give it a bit of an illustrative look, so it has a bit of a comic book feel to it. We'll see whether you guys respond to it, you like it, everybody's cool on it. And then we're also taking others and saying, well, instead of doing that, why don't we just sculpt it with a bunch of detail and then paint the heck of it. So if you look at the Hulk one, although obviously I did it in pen and ink, if we now go to the actual toy, the only places on there that we used sort of that illustrative look was in the Hulk logo. You can see the black in the Hulk logo. And a little bit, if we were to zoom in, which we can't, in the brow, up in the face right here. I could argue we didn't even need that. But it also, part of the reason is it allows us to do texture, like can you see on his knee? And when I drew Hulk, to me he was always like an elephant. His skin to me was like an elephant. But once you do that, it gets very difficult to put the black lines on it, we found, especially because we did a lot of texture on the Jim Lee one and tried to do the lines, and it was a little bit tough on us. So we're going to be doing both. We're going to do some where we just paint the heck out of it. Sort of like the way we painted our toys back when McFarlane Toys first came into the marketplace, and we just did like 200 paint offs. We're going to put as much paint in it as possible, and then we're going to do some that are what we call the illustrative look, and then we'll sit back and we'll hopefully get your guys' feedback and you guys can tell us what you want. So there's actually sort of two versions of it. The Wolverine with And if you actually look at it, we actually will have the reflection in the blades, right? Just like on, yeah, there you go. And then some of the artwork and the lines on the legs and then the rib cage and stuff like that, where the Hulk one is just mostly painted. So anyways, looking for your feedback, looking forward to getting started on this and having a lot of communication moving forward.
So we have the smaller scale as well, which is a 1/10 scale, so about 6 to 7 inches, where we get to feature even more characters and more artists. This is Wave 1, which launches this summer. Pre-orders are up now. There's an example of
right. So here's the 1/10. There's a 1/10 collectible here. This is Jim Lee's from X-Men #1. I mean, again, we plan on doing some other X-Men from those covers. Remember the interconnecting covers that Jim Lee did? So that at some point you can actually put a couple of the figures together and start kind of building the cover, especially those that had more than one character on them. I mean, I'll show you another one that we'll be able to talk about. Oh, actually, I think you already showed it, the Captain America.
Yep.
Okay, so the Captain America one came from an Amazing Spider-Man cover that I had done. And right there. And so you got Captain America and you got Spider-Man. Hopefully, eventually, we actually do Spider-Man in that pose. And it's cool because it'll look like Spider-Man crawling down a wall. So it will stand on its own. But if you happen to get the Spider-Man and the Captain America, we'll make it so that you can sort of butt them up and you can replicate a cover that's on there. And so those are the things we're going to be trying, seeing if, again, everybody sort of gets excited about it, or you've got favorite covers you want us to be doing, something like that.
So back to the Jim Lee cover, for example, this is the new wave, which is being revealed here. So we are working towards that X-Men #1 completion. And here's a translation of those designs. You can see Magneto there, Todd's Venom, so on and so forth.
Yeah, one of the things, again, you'll also notice, and again, we'll get the feedback. We're going through a lot of eras. If you look at the artwork here, right? Everything from like Jim Lee's Magneto, and that one. I thought that one, the illustrative work on that one turned out really well. I don't know if you can actually zoom on that. I thought we captured sort of the ribcage and Jim Lee's style pretty well on that, and obviously, yeah. So. Yeah, it looks like Jim Lee. When they showed it to me from the factory, I went, oh man, that's cool. And then obviously we've got the Venom shot from, the famous cover of him lurching over a beaten and fallen Spider-Man. So those are from the same year. But then obviously Miles Morales, that's new, right? And that's sort of more, maybe there's a handful of you or more are in here that are going, hey Todd, why don't you do more of the modern characters, right? And some of the people that are like been new. And then we also have John Romita, the Spider-Man swinging with the protest. That's from John Romita Sr. We had already done John Romita Jr. on Iron Man. This is John Romita Sr. And he was one of the guys that influenced me. So I'm able to go, like I said, back and touch people that influenced me. All my peers that I grew up with when I was over at Marvel, and then the new crop of great artists and great new characters that have come along since then, right? I mean, after I left, that's when Carnage and later on, Miles and then Gwen Stacy and a couple of cool villains have come along, so we'll be able to sort of circle back around that. And then from time to time, we'll be doing exclusives. I think the Green Goblin, which is from one of my Amazing Spider-Man covers, I think isn't that exclusive?
Yeah, it's actually going to be a chase, so you're going to have to hunt it a little bit, but yeah, let's get that collector mentality going.
It's a chase now?
Chase, and it'll be in all brick-and-mortar retail stores. So.
Oh, okay, my bad. Okay, cool.
So yeah, that's our Marvel slice, so exciting things there.